In section 4.6, you will be writing equations in slope-intercept form. There is no key idea today because you've actually already learned all of this stuff, but we're taking it and putting it all together within a problem to find the slope, y-intercept, and then to write an equation. As you already know, and it should be easy review, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is where it crosses the y-axis, which is the y-intercept. So you're going to actually be given a graph, and from that graph you're going to be asked to find m. So for example, let's say m was 1/3. And then let's say b, which is where it crosses the y-axis, is 5. You then are going to take those two numbers, plug them into your equation, and in this case you would get y equals 1/3 x plus 5. And it's going to be that easy. It's incredibly easy if you know how to find the slope and y-intercept based on a graph. In the first two examples, we're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So you're given two lines. Now, the first thing I want you to remember is don't forget about the slope. Don't forget that if a line goes downhill, the slope is negative. If it goes uphill, the slope is positive. So step one. Step one is always going to be finding the slope. So let's find the slope in number 1. You know, you don't need to write these down because it's going to be hard to write in a graph down, but I do want you to write the work down in your notes. So in your notes, I still want you to put m equals and b equals. So m, I look at this, and all you have to do is find where the point's at. Well, it crosses there at 0, 5, and here it crosses at 2, 2. So 0, 5, and here it crosses at 2, 2. So all I have to do is figure out what's the change in y over change in x. Change in y. Well, this is going to be down 3, right 2. Down 3, right 2. Rise over run. Well, the rise is -3. The run is 2. My slope is -3/2. Now, you could also take that, and you could do this. You could subtract the y's, 5 and 2, and get 3, and then subtract 0 minus 2 and get -2, which is also -3/2. You can do it by using the formula for slope or just by counting change in y over change in x. The next part is determining where it crosses the y-axis. Well, it crosses the y-axis at 5, right up here. So I take this, write it as my equation, y equals -3/2 x plus 5. And it really is that easy. Number 2. Number 2, let's find our m and our b. Our m is our slope, so if I look at this, I see a point here, and that point is 3, 2. And I see a point here, which is 0, -3. Now you can subtract them, or just count. How far up? How far over? How far up? Well, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to the right, 1, 2, 3. So my rise is 5, my run is 3. So my slope would be 5/3. My b, where it crosses the y-axis, is right here, which is at -3. Plug it into my equation. Y equals 5/3 x minus 3. Now once again, if you wanted to, you could have taken these 2 points here, 3, 2 and 0, -3, subtracted your y's, subtracted your x's, and 2 minus a -3 is 5, 3 minus 0 is 3, so that also gives you the same slope. So once again, you can count using what I did here in green, or you can use the formula and find slope that way. Let's do another example. Number 3, let's find the slope and y-intercept and write an equation in slope-intercept form. Step 1, find your slope. Now when I look at this, I just start filling in points that I see. So I see this one, here's a point, here's a point, here's a point, here's a point, here's a point. So my slope, to go from one to the next, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2. Remember, slope is always going to be rise over run. Your rise is your change in y. So change in y is -2, run is 1. So -2, 1, -2, 1, -2, 1. So therefore my slope is -2 over 1, which is just -2. I then have to see where it crosses the y-axis. It crosses the y-axis right here. So that's at 4. My equation would be y equals -2x plus 4. Number 4, we have a horizontal line crossing at -3 on the y-axis. So we have to find m and b. Well, because it's horizontal, you guys already know that a horizontal line has a 0 slope. And my b, where does it cross? It crosses right here at -3. So that would be y equals 0x minus 3, but I don't need the 0x, so it's just y equals -3. And once again, if you don't remember how to get your slope, you pick any 2 points. It doesn't matter what you pick. So you could pick 2, -3, and -1, -3. And if you did that, remember, I take y1 minus y2. So I could take -3 minus a -3, and -1 minus 2. Well, -3 plus 3, that gives me 0. Over -3, that gives me a slope of 0. So either way, you can just do it mathematically, or just by knowing that a horizontal line has a slope of 0, that works as well. But this would be y equals -3, would represent the equation for the red line. Example number 5 is a real-life application. The graph shows the distance remaining to complete a tunnel. A. Write an equation that represents the distance, y in feet, remaining after x months. And B, how much time does it take to complete the tunnel? All right, so let's find m and b. Part A, we have to write an equation, which means I have to find m and b. M, now once again, you could look at this and say, okay, well, how do I go down and over? You could count and go, well, this is all 500, so I could go down 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. So I could say down 2,000, and then to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope would be -2,000 divided by 4. -2,000 divided by 4 would be -500. Easy math. And then where does it cross the y-axis? It crosses right here, which is at 3,500. So my b is 3,500. My equation would be y equals my slope, which is -500x, plus 3,500. So what does that mean? It means that distance remaining starts at 3,500, and then every single month it drops by another 500. So that would be A. B, how much time does it take to complete the tunnel? Well, let's just look at our graph here. After how many months will there be nothing left? Well, this represents right here remaining. So when there's nothing remaining, it's right here. After how many months? 7 months. So after 7 months, it would take to complete the tunnel. The other way to do that would be to take your equation, y equals -500x plus 3,500. And if I want y to be 0 because I want no time or no distance remaining, I just plug in 0. Solve your equation, so I add 500x on both sides. That gives me the equation 500x equals 3,500. I divide by 500, x would equal 7. So that would be another way you could use it algebraically.